What's up, Fanout Crew? Brian and Colby here to bring you another episode of the Fanout Pinball Podcast. I've forgotten which episode number this is. What are we on, 3?
Yeah, this is 3.
All right, so 3. Lucky number 3.
Also, 3 is unlucky.
So anyways, it's been a mostly uneventful week in pinball. Nothing too crazy other than some typical... All right, I guess let's say it's a version 1.2 of some of the trauma from last week with Chicago Gaming Company and Cactus Canyon. Colby, I'm sure you remember me talking to you a week or so ago about their whole thing with, we're going to make 300 LEs. Well, never mind. We're going to make 500 LEs and charge the same price.
No, that was American Pinball, right? With Legends of Valhalla you're talking about? Or is that's not the same game, right?
I've gotten things mixed up. You're right.
But there was some drama with Chicago Game Company and Cactus Canyon Remake, right?
There is, and I blended the two together. So this is like,
it's just more drama. It's just
it's more drama on the LE front. So
okay.
You're right. Thanks for correcting me, because I would have looked really dumb. Well, I'm going to look dumb anyways, but at least we caught it. So we had the thing with AP, Legend of Valhalla, where they changed the numbering after they sold out. They added 200 more. Then you had Stern randomly decide, oh, hey, we're going to sell 199 of this Elvira 40th anniversary edition. That's the same exact game you could have bought a few years ago, but we're not even going to put a price on it. You've got to call your distributor and they're going to charge you what they want. Which rumor is distributors could get that game for $15,000 and we're told sell it for whatever you can.
Wow.
I've heard rumors of those selling for $25,000 to $30,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they're for sale on Pinside right now.
That's a really nice car right now.
Yeah, that's a high-end sports car or a nice SUV, or it's any number of things.
You're approaching a Tesla at that point if you're above 30 grand, and that's Model 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like in our area, you can buy a decent sized house for 150,000 ish ballpark.
Yeah.
Like maybe not a new house, but a family sized home. So it's getting into the realm of ridiculous for some of these LEs. So anyways, the next thing in the whole LE drama was CGC with Cactus Canyon Remake. There is an LE version of the game. The game itself, gameplay wise, is exactly the same as their standard edition. There's nothing different between the two on the playfield. Same art, same gameplay. There's a couple of little toys that don't really, like, they're cosmetic things, basically. There's nothing special. Besides,
so what is the difference then?
The topper.
The difference?
So the topper has a little cowboy guy. He's robotic, spins his arms around and does some call outs and stuff. That's supposed to be limited to the LE model. People complained. So customers always right type mentality.
What else is new?
Yeah, so everyone complained and said, well, we want a topper too to go with our standard editions because you're not making enough LEs for all of us to get an LE and get the topper.
That's the whole point of LEs. What do you think the L stands for?
So they decided, okay, well, we're going to make a new version of the game that we didn't talk about before called the SE Plus. So it's the standard edition plus. And the plus means you get the topper that only the LE was going to come with. Now here's the price. The price is the same exact cost as the LE.
What?
But it's not an LE. It's the standard edition with a topper, but it costs the same as an LE.
I'm so confused. So you can get the regular standard they're still selling for the normal price, right?
Yes.
But if you get the standard plus of Doom, it is the same price as the LE, but it has the topper, and that's the only difference.
Yes, and
Why
it's
would-
not numbered.
Why is it the same price? It's not the LE. I don't.
You tell me. I think it is very clear.
Is there any logic behind that, or am I missing something super like important here? Because there's no logic to that for me.
No, I think that the LE, it's very clear to me that CGC did not think this launched through. Like, even though they've supposedly been making this game for years and kind of perfecting it, make sure it's perfect and ready to go, they did not put much effort into marketing strategy for it, apparently, because
Right.
it's pretty obvious. Like, I haven't even talked to you about the world of toppers, but just as an example, Black Knight Sword of Rage, a game that's a few years old, its topper
Has an amazing topper, right?
Yeah, it's got the little Black Knight head on the top. He kind of taunts you and bobs around and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah. I think MSRP for that was a few $100. Like, I think it was less than $500. Right now, you can't find one of those for sale that's not several $1,000s.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, toppers are extremely popular in pinball, and people pay stupid amounts of money for them and scout people for it.
Is there a I don't mean to interrupt, but is there like an underground like niche market for like custom toppers? Like, is that a thing? Like, that you can't get from a manufacturer?
There are people that make
topper
mods, like
I feel like 3D
toppers, basically.
I feel like 3D printing would be perfect for that kind of thing. Throw in some LEDs and some paint stuff, you know?
Yeah, there are some non-official toppers that get made for popular games. But even those are very overpriced in most cases for what they are.
Okay.
But
I was thinking so they could sell you a kit that you like, you know, put together and paint yourself and all that stuff.
Oh, no. They I don't know if those are out there. Like,
interesting.
Because
I feel like pinball machines are very modular, like in nature by design, and like having a topper with that same type of thing seems like it'd be a good idea to me. But maybe I'm just,
you're not wrong. A lot of what I see people do, like I did it with turtles. I bought some like the cheapest Ninja Turtle statues I could find that fit the vibe of the game and put them up there. And that, like, I spent a decent amount of money on those statues, but it was still less than what the MSRP was for the Stern Topper, and they look better. Like, the Stern Topper for Ninja Turtles is $999.
Oh my God.
That's the MSRP. You can't find it for that.
Right.
In most cases, because people buy them and then flip them. And so you're spending over $1,000 for something that's already overpriced. But Black Knight Sword of Rage, I want to say the last time I saw one of those for sale, it was in the $2,000 to $3,000 price range for something that was only several $100s when it came out, which is just ridiculous. So
yeah.
Anyways, given the market and what it will hold for people still buying these things at these ridiculous prices, it's clear to me that CGC did not put a whole lot of thought into the value of that topper on the LE, because if they had done some market research, they would have seen that they could sell these toppers for almost anything and people would buy them. So if that's going to be a selling point to your LE, you probably could have charged the LE, like charged more for the LE, and because they didn't leave enough of a price gap between the two models, adding the topper just basically balances it out, which
really,
is stupid.
Really dumb.
Yeah.
So I imagine this decision didn't go over too well, as far as, you know, the market. I mean, I'm sure people are buying them, but at the same time, it's like, this is stupid. Like, this is dumb.
It depends on who you are. So if you are someone that wants, or that had an LE and managed to get a spot for that because they're limited, then you're not happy about this because what you have isn't special anymore. And not in the same way, at least. Like, you're paying for the same game someone else is getting, but yours has a number on it.
Yeah, but I'd also be pissed if I was one of the people that bought the SE, because you're paying the same amount and getting less. So it's like, I mean, at least they get their topper, I guess. But I don't know. What's the price of the with the topper? Like more than 10,000?
knew you were going to ask me that, so I was trying to pull up the MSRP. So the standard edition is $7,999.99, according to ChicagoGaming.com. The SE Plus, that includes the topper, is $9,249.99. So that's
the same price for the LE.
Yes. So that's a $1,250 uptick to add the topper.
Now that's interesting because now I'm new to this, but isn't CGC considered one of the gold standards as far as quality goes?
They are. I've never played a CGC game myself, but from what I hear, they're basically tanks. Like the build quality is extremely high. Everything's very sturdy. They use really high quality components and mechanisms.
So very similar to Stern, basically.
I would say they have a better reputation.
Maybe I was gonna say maybe even
Stern,
maybe even higher. Yeah,
yeah. They have a much lower output. They don't mass produce.
Stern seems to be doing it for the masses. And I don't mean to say that they're just getting them out there and there's no quality. I mean, I was super impressed with that Godzilla cabinet when we unboxed it. If you haven't seen our last episode, definitely go watch that. That was an experience.
Yeah, Stern. I think last I looked during COVID times. So during COVID times, they can output something like, 70 games a day at their factory, which is a lot for pinball. There's a lot going on inside those games.
There's over a mile of wiring in each pinball cabinet, I've heard.
Something crazy like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, so anyways, like pricing wise, it's crazy to me that you have a $1,250 uptick for this topper, and the topper's really cool, but
couldn't you just sell the topper for more than that? Like, can't you take the topper off and sell it?
Absolutely. And so that's where I was going to go next. So what I'm sure we're going to end up seeing a lot of once these games start shipping
$5,000
is people were like, oh yeah, I'll pay that extra $1,250. And as soon as they get their game, they're going to strip that topper off and then post it for sale for $2,000. And someone will buy it because the internet, it completely baffles me. I think some people, and the topper changes nothing as far as the gameplay. Like, it's cool. It's neat to look at. I don't think it's worth $1,250. I definitely don't think it's worth more than that either.
Toppers aren't ever functional, right? Do they? I mean, they're almost always cosmetic, aren't there? I know, like the Jurassic Park one, like it lit up when you did the letters or something, right?
Jurassic Park is...
But that one was horrible. It did not look good at all. And
yeah, it's cheap plastic, but Jurassic Park is weird because it does actually add a game mode to the game that's not in the game without the topper. Which there's also, back when that came out, a lot of mixed feelings on that. I also have mixed feelings. Like, it's cool if the topper is affordable.
Right.
If the topper is $1,000 or more, then it's not cool. Like that.
Yeah, you're gating it off. You can get a full like arcade cabinet for that. Working.
Yeah.
Really in really good condition.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially like on the secondhand market, do you spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a Black Knight Sword of Rage topper, or do you go try to find a $2,000 to $3,000 used pinball machine somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, how is the one topper just as valuable as
an entire machine?
Yeah, it should, the value that people have put on these things is just kind of ridiculous. With that said, the topper does look really cool as far as toppers go. It looks neat. It moves around. It does stuff. It's a lot better than flat plastic. Like a lot of the newer Stern toppers have gone. Like Avengers has a really terrible topper. TMNT also had flat plastic, which wasn't that cool. It has a Technodrome with an eye that moves around, which was pretty neat, but not $1,000 neat.
So I'm looking at it now, and it's basically just sort of like a traditional, like old-timey Western town. Like, it's just the storefront, basically.
It's the facade of buildings with a I forget the Wild Bill character, whatever his name is, at the top with his pistols, and he'll do like quick draw animations and stuff.
Black
But
Bart, I guess
yeah.
is his name.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, looking at it now, like, it's just. I don't know why you'd pay that much for something that doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
it's kind of silly.
Yeah, the other crazy thing is like the LE, which again is the same price as the SE Plus, does come with some other stuff. That's like cosmetic things. So it has art blades on the inside of the cabinet, which is again just cosmetic, and you can buy reproduction ones of those from modders in the aftermarket. Then
it seems like that's a better idea anyway, is just to get the machine, and then just over time add what you want to it. Do your own, get your own art or put your own toys in instead of, using the official ones or whatever that don't do anything.
Absolutely. And really that's where the value of pinball comes into question. Like, are you buying a pinball machine for gameplay? Are you buying it to collect because you love the theme? What are you doing? And if you're going after gameplay, the money or question comes into, does, like with Stern is probably the best or the easiest explanation of this, but like with Godzilla, do you want the building that moves up and down because you think that makes the gameplay special? Because it does change the gameplay. Is that worth the price difference to you or not? And then, so you do it on a cost reward scenario. If you don't mind spending the extra money, then most people are going to get the premium anyways. But from a gameplay standpoint, the Pro is just as good and you're going to save money. But with these CGC games, the gameplay is exactly the same on all of them. So
yeah, that's
really,
a little odd.
You're deciding, do you just want the cool topper or not, and pay more?
Yeah, I would just get the regular one and then put what I want on it over time instead of, paying all that extra money. I mean, they're not cheap to begin with. What'd you say it was? 7,200, I think, for the standard.
7,900.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean that's eight grand is a lot of money. It is.
Yes, it is. Cannot deny that. So, okay.
No, I was just gonna say. I've actually been looking at some, old, used games like the '90s style, like solid state games. The Addams Families and the Medieval Madnesses and the Pinbot kind of things, and some of the upgrades they have for those now are awesome. You can upgrade the dot matrix display to color. You can put a new sound card in it that allows you to use really whatever sounds you want. New speakers, new subwoofers, pin stadiums, all that stuff. Pin stadiums are the LED things that help light up the thing. You've got them in your Turtles.
Yeah, they're behind me.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, you guys, I don't know how well it'll show up on camera. I will hit the power button on them.
But yeah, you can really like that. So that's the base.
That's
lighting
the
package,
base,
right?
With the light off. This is with it on.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So that makes more sense to me, is just get a used machine that works, or at least may take a little bit of work, and just sort of upgrade it over time instead of, because these, how often, not how often, but how long do collectors hold on to games anyway? Most games last 3 to 6 months, and then they're sold or traded or whatever. I mean, there are some that people keep, but
yeah,
it seems
I
like
would
most
say
people recycle them a little bit.
And that's part of where that value proposition comes in, and just the pinball market as a whole, which I know we had planned to talk about anyways today. So let's just jump into that. But pinball machines are really weird in how they hold their value, especially for the upper trims, your premiums and LEs and collector's editions.
They don't depreciate like hardly at all.
A lot of times they appreciate.
They can go up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that pinball, if you have the money, the best deal in pinball right now is to buy a new in-box game from a distributor that is honest and going to charge you MSRP. That's the best value in pinball right now with the market the way it is. And I say that because, yes, you can go get a used game somewhere, or an older game, it may have some issues. There's some good deals out there, but for the most part, people want more than what these games are worth on the used market. I'm seeing games that are posting for sale like in the $4,000 to $5,000 range that a few years ago were $1,000 to $2,000. Like everything's inflated right now, and LEs are like that right now too. Like this Godzilla, I got at pretty much MSRP. I could, if I wanted, I don't want to get rid of Godzilla, but if I wanted to, I could flip that and make a couple grand on it and sell it.
Sell it
pretty
probably
easily.
in a couple hours.
Yeah. At least within a week or two. If I all I have to do is beat the other people selling them for $13,000, $14,000, $15,000. If I beat them by a couple $100, it's sold.
Yeah.
But so it's just really weird how people are valuing these things, and I think that it is making it very easy, at least in my mind, to lean towards, if you're going to buy a new pinball machine or a first pinball machine and you don't know what you like, you want to get a new in-box game, probably a premium or an LE. And while those are expensive, what that allows you to do is, if you don't like the game, or even if you do like the game, but it's not something that you see as a permanent fixture, you're interested in other stuff, you can flip the game, potentially profit a little bit off of it, and buy another game. So a game doesn't have to stay in your collection forever, especially right now with even Stern, as fast as they can produce games, their production is backlogged right now. There's people that I know that ordered Mandalorian games that were looking at not getting one until December or January, and they ordered when the game was announced back in like June.
Wow.
So if you're looking at a market that is demanding these new games and these companies just can't make them fast enough, people can charge whatever they want for them at this point. But just looking at Pinside right now at their classified ads, I did a quick search for just $15,000 and up just to see what some of these prices were like out there. Elvira's House of Horrors, and I'm not talking about the 199 version one that just came out with the 40th anniversary. Right now, new in box, $19,000. That game, brand new a few years ago from the factory, was less than 10 grand.
Yeah. Well, so if you go to pinballprices.com, I'm sure you've seen that, where it basically gives you a kind of historical look at what they cost over time and what they cost now. So I just did a search. There's a seller local to us that is selling the Bride of Pinbot on Facebook Marketplace, and he wants $4,100 for it. The machine looks to be really good condition, but that machine is selling for $3,800 this year, which is an already inflated price. If you look at 2020, it was selling for $2,400. So it's just in 1 year, it's gone up a third, which is nuts. And he wants even more than that. So like the market is just, I mean, I'm not saying he's like trying to like swindle people. Like it's just, the market is what it is right now. It's crazy. Right.
Yeah. And that Elvira, I just checked there for a baseline. In 2019, that was selling for just over $9 grand. So there's a $10,000 markup on that one. There's a, Metallica LE 16.5 grand, Star Wars Premium LE 20 grand, Pirates of the Caribbean 36 grand.
$36,000.
Yep.
Oof.
Yeah. Jurassic Park limited edition, home use only, 21,500. You could literally go buy 2 brand new Godzilla LEs for that price right now.
And sell one of them for more.
Yeah. Assuming you could find one at MSRP.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, I did. And they're out there. You can find them. But just kind of looking through this, there's another Pirates for 25, another one for 22. Tron Legacy LE 28 grand. Jurassic Park LE 32 grand.
It just makes me sad. What other stuff do we have to talk about tonight? I just want to move on from the high prices.
Well, it's actually a good segue. So, on the topic of price, so a lot of these new games, when you buy them, aren't coming with completed code, and so I got lucky with Ninja Turtles that came out with version 1 code, which was surprising. When I got it, it had version 1 already loaded. Godzilla launched with version 0.78. There's some other games that launch in those I guess you'd call it the beta phase. Like the code's just not fully baked yet. And that has different,
what is the,
I guess, problems with it.
What's the reason behind that? Because I know, like, when I was looking at the like Avengers Infinity Quest, I was just looking at it, and people were saying that when it first launched, like, Thanos wasn't even in the game.
Yeah.
Like, so what is the deal with that?
So I think part of it is, at least with Stern, so we'll use them as an example. I think because they produce games so quickly, they have like a pre-planned launch schedule. So every 3 to 4 months, they announce a new game. They produce that game for a couple of months, and then they announce another new game. And somewhere in between there, they also try to squeeze in producing some of their older titles too. So they're always under that production crunch. They don't want a game on the line unless they don't want to announce a game that they're not physically producing. And so I think a lot of times they will announce the game and start physically producing it when the code is still in the oven, but all of the physical stuff is there that they need for the code plan. Sometimes there's varying degrees of success with that, I'll say. So Avengers is a good example. Godzilla is a good example. Both of those launched with incomplete code. I think most people would probably never know. Like when you were playing Godzilla, did the code feel incomplete to you?
No, I mean, I didn't get to any of the, wizard modes or whatever. What's missing from Godzilla?
So actually several things. So, a few of the monster battles are not coded at all. Some of the mini wizard modes are not coded. The final wizard modes are not there. There's some stuff they want to do with the cities that are not loaded in yet. There's a whole lot of stuff they have planned that's just not there. But the code is built in a way that it's stable and there's enough there to keep you busy without you noticing, unless you're a player that's good enough to actually get deeper into those modes.
So do you think that they used the first wave of buyers as quasi beta testers to figure out, stuff that's wrong?
Absolutely. And they do take that feedback. They're in the forums, a lot of, like in the Ninja Turtle thread, like you can actually tag Dwight Sullivan, the coder for Turtles. You can actually tag him.
Dwight Sullivan sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, you would think that. But you can tag him in the feed and he'll chime in and be like, oh, well, the way the code is intended to work is this. Can anyone else replicate what this person's describing? And if so, like, they'll go try to implement a fix.
So what is how often do they release code updates? What's the process to update it? It's USB, right? For most games?
Yeah, so it varies.
Pre-Godzilla?
Yeah, Godzilla is the first Stern game that can update via Wi-Fi.
Which seems like a huge,
Jersey,
thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Jersey Jack, I know at least some of their games can update over Wi-Fi. I don't know which title started that with them. I'm not sure about Spooky or the other manufacturers. I don't think they're Wi-Fi connected yet. But so here's the problem in my mind. I'm okay with getting some pre-release code if it's as far along as something like what Godzilla has, where the game is still playable for the most part. I play pinball every day, and I'm not quite good enough to get to the modes that aren't in the game yet anyways. So it doesn't really impact me. Otherwise, if I didn't know it was code version 0.8, I would be ignorant to the fact that it's not even version 1.0. But there's some other games out there. There's a lot of owners of the new Halloween Pinball Machine and Ultraman that have had a lot of complaints about code, where once you get to a game mode that isn't coded yet, the game was just turning off on them.
Yeah, see, it's one thing if it's just totally like seamlessly missing, like Godzilla. It's another where it's like game breaking.
Yeah, like you just hit a dead end and the game's like, I don't know what to do now. Turns off.
That's stupid. Yeah.
And there's also some other things with that where Halloween in particular does not have a lot of assets from the film in it.
Yeah, that game looks whack, dude. I mean, I'm like, look, I'm new to this whole thing, but I watched like a video on it and it just looked lame. I mean,
yeah, the stuff going on the screen is not good.
Plus, it plays the Halloween music constantly, and it's like, it's very cool for 30 seconds, and then it's just like,
it's not a game that I would want to be playing for a long time.
Stop, the music is so intense, and it doesn't fit with the game. Yeah, I mean, obviously it fits with the movie, but I don't know.
I don't think it was a good movie for pinball. I don't think it's a good theme for pinball.
Yeah, because it's not, I mean, pinball is all about chaos and action and speed and stuff, and that's not at all what Halloween is. Like, it's not like you can just have the ball behind the hedges and then like a magnet makes it like poke out and then come back. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah. And what they do on the screen, like during some of those scenes, is Mike Myers just like standing there staring at you.
I do like how some of the like the colored inserts that light up, they're like shaped like a knife. Like, that's cool, but like that's a novelty. Like, that's fun for 2 seconds.
Yeah. So with code, there's some other things that do bother me. So one, like, if you're going to release code that's not done, we'll say, like it's pre-version 1.0, the game needs to at least be mostly playable. It needs to be playable to, I would say, beginner to novice players without running into constant issues.
It can't be turning itself off.
Yeah. And I would say that, so there's like a certain level of acceptance. The code has to get to a certain point to be eligible for release. Like, otherwise you're buying a box with a bunch of stuff in it for a whole lot of money that you can't fully use.
At least with like the Avengers, there's like an in-universe like lore explanation. Like, Thanos hasn't arrived yet. Like, he's not invaded yet. Okay, cool. But with this, it's like, boop, game turns off. Like, that's not, not the same thing, dude.
So some other things with it, just to talk about code, like I'm going to complain about Turtles. Turtles, when it first came out, was getting a lot of code updates pretty rapidly. It's up to version 1.41.
It's a pretty complex game, so like that makes sense to me.
So version 1.40, when they released it, had a very glaring bug in it. I don't remember what it was. They released it on December 21st, 2020, if I remember right. And I only remember that because everybody that downloaded it was like, hey, this is broken. And they're like, oh crap, here's version 1.41 the next day.
Yeah.
And they released that on my birthday.
Well, lucky you.
Yeah. So, but when they did that, now when you get to the
Something
final
else broke.
Yeah, so now when you get to Final Battle, which I finally did for the first time.
Oh yeah, okay.
So when I got there, the screen, shows a cutscene or whatever. There's no sound in that cutscene anymore. And so I look at the forums and other people have that same issue. And it's like, how did you break first of all, version 1.40 obviously was a bad update if it didn't work for anybody. Like, how did that even get released? Did you test the code at all? And then for something like, a cutscene no longer having any audio as well, and it being a wizard mode that people are going to be excited to get to for the first time being broken, they haven't released an update to fix that, and that was December 22nd last year.
Wow.
And you would think that'd be an easy fix because it was working in the prior updates.
Just sound. It's not like it's not there.
Yeah. What broke it?
Let's actually talk about that, and let's just switch gears just a little bit. So, you mentioned to me the other day that someone is working on a like refresh of the graphics, the little like 3D animations and stuff that play for Turtles, right?
Yes, just certain animations though. So
Right.
if you've spent any time on Stern's Ninja Turtles, you'll know that any scene that has April O'Neil show up on the screen, she is
Sucks.
hideous. Like
Yeah.
they spent no time or effort on her whatsoever. Like some of the other scenes with the turtles and stuff are kind of cheesy, but it's at least passable. It looks good. It's mimicking. I guess it looks good as a 3D version of the original animated series.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like the Avengers one is definitely like 2D comic book shading, which works perfectly for that medium. Godzilla actually takes real clips from the movies, which is perfect. I don't know that I like them, frankly, wasting time making their own 3D animations when it's like, I mean, the Jurassic Park ones are bad too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why are they doing this? They don't. I mean, people don't like them generally.
Yeah, and that is a good question for Turtles in general, because there is a fan mod out there right now you can go download on Pinside where they replaced all the scenes in the game with clips from the 1987 cartoon.
Yeah, like that would be, I would want that, I feel like.
Every game mode in this game, as far as I know, all the game modes in this game are based off of that show and things that happened in the show. So why not use the clips?
Right. I wonder if it was a licensing issue. But it's like they got the license. But how, though? They got the license for the actual, turtles. I mean, it's not. And
they got the licensing for the likeness of the turtles, but all the voice call outs and everything are new voice actors.
I guess that's, I guess that makes sense.
So maybe they had licensing trouble getting the actual
I'm sure
television series.
Well, that's what the issue was with Jurassic Park and stuff as well. They got John Williams' score, which is nice, but the call outs are all not from the film.
Yeah. But so for April O'Neil, at least, this particular model or modder coincidentally is from Deep Root Pinball, the company that went under a couple months ago for all kinds of fraud stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
They were one of the former Disney Pixar level artists that was,
I don't know enough about them, but I mean I know the name Deep Root, and I know it's not a very positive connotation right now. So there was I don't know if you want to get into that at all.
There was a game series that Disney was producing that was what was it called? Skylanders or something. You could buy little figures that were almost like amiibos and scan them into your game and then use them on like Wii U and Switch. I think it was like Disney Skylanders. When that game got shut down, Disney fired off this like animation studio that was doing all the animations for that game. Deep Root hired that studio to do all of the animations for their pinball games, and they had some really good talent there, but they just didn't have any games for them to put their animations into. So anyways, one of the people that was let go when Deep Root shut down has now, as a passion project, decided that they're going to reanimate April O'Neil in Ninja Turtles and then work with someone on one of the mods to be able to add her clips into the game. And I've seen some of the videos. It is amazing. Like, Stern needs to hire this person. If they're gonna do it, they should just do it right, Yeah,
and
it's leaps and bounds better than any other Stern title I've seen. And if this person's doing it in their spare time, I could only imagine what it looks like if they were getting paid to do this for 40 hours a week. So that community's out there. You made me lose my thought with game code. My issue with game code. So one, it needs to come out in a playable format. Like, it's okay if a couple modes are missing. I expect some basic stuff to get tuned over time. I do appreciate that it's not fully baked when it releases, because it gives the community opportunity to give these companies feedback to tweak things so that it's a better experience for everyone. I kind of like the idea of crowdsourcing that feedback. But there needs to be a certain level of stability on release. Long-term support is the other issue I was getting into with Turtles, is how do I have a Final Wizard mode that doesn't have audio almost a year after that update came out?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very popular game. It's not like this is a, old game that's vaporware. Like, this is currently being,
Yeah, you can still buy this
old.
game new from the factory.
Yeah.
Like, they should have fixed that already. The
Yeah.
problem we get into is, my understanding is Dwight Sullivan, the head coder to this, he and his coding team basically got moved to the Mandalorian pinball machine and had to get that code up to version 1, and they don't have time to go back and revisit Turtles. So the only time that Turtles is going to get revisited is when that team is between projects on whatever their next game is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah, it's just
now,
not a good
couldn't a
format.
modder just replace that asset with working sound and then you're done?
Yeah, I'm sure they could. So this is where the kind of tertiary, which I hate that word, the third issue comes in. Now that these games are online connected, at least future facing with CERN Insider connected, there's a lot of people that are curious if CERN will be able to do some sort of check to see if you actually have the factory update installed, or if it is a custom image or not. And if it is a custom image, what do? Do they brick your game? Do they not allow the game to boot? What do they do? And
yeah, I mean,
so there's a lot of people, and like myself included, like I've looked at a lot of these mods and I appreciate them. I've even tinkered around with tweaking some stuff on my own in Pin Browser just to see what it would look like. And I'm kind of nervous to upload any of that to my machine. I don't want to potentially mess something up. Supposedly it's risk-free, but you run a risk of installing non-supported software to your game. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, like let's say they don't necessarily brick it, but they may say, well, you're just not going to get any updates moving forward, so your game won't, like, your turtles could not,
your game's no longer
fixed.
under warranty. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the pinball warranties are kind of loosely worded anyways, but if they can track, well, he modified his game code, so we don't trust anything he says now. So anyways, I would like to see a little bit more commitment from these companies to have a stable version of the game code ready at launch. Like, you should not be selling or shipping a product that's not ready, to a certain extent. And when you do sell that game, you should be committing at least some level of dedicated resource to maintaining that code for a period of time. There's a lot of people complaining still about the Monsters, which is a game that's several years old, that they still feel like the code is incomplete. They feel like it's not finished. I'm not sure what version that's up to, but every time I see CERN announce a code update, the first thing I see is people commenting about, is it Monsters? What about Monsters? Let's see what version that's at. It's at version 1.03.
So it hasn't had very many updates at all.
Yeah. It launched with very, very early development code. So anyways, I don't know. I don't want to harp too much on the code, because at least in my own 2 games, I'm very happy with where the code is for the most part. With Turtles, not having audio is very annoying and frustrating over something so simple. Otherwise, the game is fine code wise, but it's just something I feel like more people could and probably should be complaining about. Just the unacceptable support that we get from code in a lot of these games.
Yeah, it seems like they're more concerned with just getting the cabinets finished and out, and then moving on to the next game. But there definitely needs to be some oversight with that, especially if they're bugs, like game-breaking bugs.
Yeah. Even if they had, like, I understand, like, it's really weird in the pinball world. Like, these game designers and game coders have almost hit, like, a celebrity status. Like, if you play pinball regularly, you probably know who Keith Elwin is. Or it's some
Jack
of the
Danger
coders.
or and he's just a player. He's not even,
Yeah, and so it's like a lot of these game designers and lead code developers get worshipped similar to a celebrity does, and
yeah. Everybody in this hobby knows who Zombie Yeti is.
Yeah, and yeah, especially the artists. So I understand the want for a company like Stern to be like, hey, we need you on this new game because your name helps us sell titles. So we need you to stop working on this and start working on this. I get that. But they could have a kind of reserve unit of coders that their primary job is to continue to tweak and tune these for X number of years at least.
There's clearly a need for it. And it's not like they can't just pretend these games that they made, years ago no longer exist. I mean, they're clearly, being played, and they have a fandom associated to them. I mean, I would never play the Monsters, but that's me. But
it's a surprisingly fun game. It shocked me.
If I did play it, I would want it to work.
Yeah. And that's a kind of another point where they're shooting themselves in the foot. If I was someone that didn't understand these games could get updated, and I went to an arcade and played Halloween, and I was like, oh man, I love Halloween the movie. This game's awesome. And then on my first game, the game shuts down because I'm doing too good.
Yeah.
I now have zero interest in buying that game, and I'm probably not going to put money into it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so for their own like sales and marketing strategy, it just doesn't look good when you have people that run into these issues with these games that they're excited about, especially if it's someone that's new to pinball, because they don't understand, that game's going to get code updates over the next year. So this is just like, this is only the tip of the iceberg for what this game could be. Like, yeah, I'm spending, on a new in-box game, you're spending like, I don't know, on the low end, $6,000 some odd dollars, upwards of $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 from some manufacturers for these collector's editions.
You want it to work. You don't want to wait a year to get sound back.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to go buy the cheapest brand new car you can buy is still going to have a fully functioning everything. Like, you're not going to hit 60 miles an hour and the car be like, oh no, we haven't programmed how to go this fast yet.
Yeah.
So it's just pinball's weird in that way, and why people are so willing to accept things like that at the prices that are being asked for is just kind of crazy. And I'm one of those crazy people. I did it. I bought Godzilla. It's not done. So yes, I'm maybe I'm a hypocrite in that standpoint, but it's I think it's something that needs to change.
Yeah, it seems like pinball in and of itself is organized chaos to begin with. It's a physics marvel that it even works the way it does. So it seems like something like this would fit right along with the hobby. It's like, oh, it's all right, the code will get fixed, But I mean, if they don't fix it, that seems kind of lame to me. But and this isn't like a Stern exclusive thing we're talking about. I mean, this is
this is
manufacturers.
Yeah, I would say this is a pretty widespread issue. I've like, apparently, so Pirates of the Caribbean Jersey Jack. What year did that come out? Jersey, do a quick search. 2017 is at least when they revealed it. So that game's been out for like 4 years now. I just heard earlier this week that like the final wizard mode in that game doesn't exist yet.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And that game, again, that's one you can go find right now for the low price of $30,000 on the used marketplace. Like, how do you take nuts. 4 years to finish coding the final level in one of these games? Because it doesn't, like, I do some I'm not a game developer, but I do programming for work. I know you've dabbled in coding yourself, Colby. If you sit down to do something and really dedicate time to it, a coding project like that should not take 4 years.
Yeah.
It taking 4 years.
I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah. Typically, if I take an extended amount of time to code something at work, it's because no one's prioritized whatever that issue is that needs to be finished. So no one looks at it.
Right.
And then, eventually someone will scream about it and say, hey, that's on fire, fix it. And then someone will finally be able to sit down and spend the couple of days to resolve whatever the issue is. So I think it just goes to show there's a lack of priority in buttoning up code on some of these games, because, hey, they're selling like hotcakes. Like, do people really care if it's not finished? Who knows? Speak with your money.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap this one up. This is getting a little long. Plus, the Spider-Man trailer is out. We need to do a reaction to that one. So,
yeah.
I brought my shirt. I'm ready. So, yeah. I mean, this was episode 3 of our pinball podcast. We are just going to continue to do these as new, things come out, news, that kind of stuff. Brian, let's remind everyone where they can, find us and all that stuff.
Yeah, so
here, I guess.
Yeah, so here, wherever you're listening or watching us now, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. We'll have links to that in the description. You can also listen to our audio podcasts basically everywhere that you would listen to audio podcasts. We're on the Apple Store.
We're going to try to do some pinball streaming this Friday, right?
Yeah, it looks like Friday we're going to do some streaming. I finally got in the equipment I needed for that. I actually did a test stream that I didn't tell anyone about a few days ago, so things look pretty good there. And then I also filmed some installation videos of some accessories on Godzilla recently. I still need to do the editing for that, so make sure you're like and subscribed on YouTube so you'll get those notifications when that goes live. What else have we got in the oven for pinball?
Well, I don't have anything for pinball specifically, but we did film our Avengers MCU rewatch. We filmed it a couple weeks ago, actually. I haven't had a chance to edit it. We had some issues with our recording solution, so we had to use a backup video and audio method, and it's not great, just honestly, but it is what it is. We'll get it, published as soon as we can. And look out for some more pinball podcasts probably starting next week. Mm-hmm. Like and subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. We did get over 100 subscribers, which was awesome. So
heck yeah.
Now we have a fancy new channel URL instead of the generic one that YouTube gave us. So we really appreciate you guys. Let us know, if you're interested in pinball. We do some, not we, but we go to tournaments. We don't host them, but one of Brian's friends hosts it every month. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't done any of those yet.
Fun fact. Yeah. There was a tournament last weekend which you weren't able to go to.
Yeah.
Jeff and I.
Town, yeah.
Jeff and I both went, and we both participated.
Okay. We'll talk about that on our next one.
Yeah. Let's just say I didn't win. It was really bad.
Nice. All right, guys. You know the drill. As always, fan out. See you guys.
Fan out.